Okay, folks, here's a quick review of the Deathstroke figure that was produced by DC Collectibles as a part of their Arkham Origins line of 7-inch scale action figures. Now, I've been looking for this Deathstroke figure for a long time, and to be honest, I was about to give up and order him online. But as luck would have it, I discovered that there's a comic shop that just recently opened its doors in my area in the past month, and I decided to pay it a visit, and as luck would have it, they had Deathstroke in stock. Now, most of the articulation joints were frozen in place on this figure when I got it out of packaging, and I wound up having to use a hairdryer to free them up. Deathstroke has articulation in the neck, the shoulders, the upper biceps, the elbows, the wrists, the waist, the hips, and the ankles. There's a mid-abdominal crunch joint, as well as an ankle pivot joint. Now, the head has a limited range of upward movement, although it does seem to look down just fine. The wrists spin 360 degrees, and they also appear to have a swivel joint. The shoulder articulation is a bit restricted due to the shoulder pads on Deathstroke's costume. The ankle articulation is also somewhat restricted due to the costume adornments around his feet, but surprisingly, that didn't seem to affect the ankle pivot feature at all. So, in spite of those shoulder and ankle restrictions, I still feel that there's a good range of posing options available for this figure to get some really nice action poses out of it. The paint apps on the figure were nicely done. There were no appreciable errors to speak of. And I was very impressed with the detailing on this figure, as it's easily one of the best jobs that I've seen on a figure in this scale. So let me pause here, zoom in, and I'm going to give you a closer look as to what Deathstroke looks like. Okay. Alright, Deathstroke did come with 3 accessories in the package, so let me take a break here and I'm going to show you what those look like. There was no figure stand included in the package, but there is a hole in Deathstroke's right foot, and that will allow you to use a figure stand if you so choose. Okay, first up, here is Deathstroke's pistol, and I believe this is a Desert Eagle. And as you can see, this has some nice detailing on it. However, there was a small paint smudge on the grips of the gun. Now, I noticed that this pistol should be placed in Deathstroke's right hand, as it has an exposed trigger finger on it, and it does slip easily into a holster located on Deathstroke's right hip. Okay, next up, here is Deathstroke's bow staff, and as you can see, this also has some nice detailing on it. Okay, and finally, here is Deathstroke's katana. Now, this stores in a sheath located on Deathstroke's back, and this can be placed in either of Deathstroke's hands. Okay, what I'm going to do now is a quick 360 of Deathstroke for you and let you see what he looks like from all sides. So here he is from the front. Here is Deathstroke from the right-hand side. Here is Deathstroke from the rear. Here is Deathstroke from the left-hand side. And finally, here we are once again facing forward. So overall, I'd have to say that this is a really great figure. It's got great articulation, plus it comes with some really nice looking accessories. The paint apps are also exceptionally done, and I was very impressed with the detailing on this figure. The articulation joints were initially problematic, so once again I have to strongly advise that you use a device like a hairdryer to free them up when you get this figure out of packaging. About the only nitpick that I do have is that I wish there had been a figure stand included, especially when you consider that this figure retails at around $25. But at the same time, this Deathstroke does stand pretty well on its own without using a figure stand. So in this instance, you know, I really don't think that the figure stand is all that necessary. So therefore, what else can I say? Deathstroke really gets a really great recommendation from me. So if you see this figure in your local comic book shop, this is definitely a must-buy for your collection, especially if you're a Deathstroke or an Arkham Origins video game fan. Alright, so on that note, take care and stay tuned for my next review. Have a good one!